Starting. Should be good. All right, let me take that test off. Down. Oh yeah, I think we're good. I think we're live. I don't see it live on. Okay, I see it live on this channel.
Like,
Is it good?
yeah.
Important. All creators are obligated to take action to comply with the Children's Online Privacy Protection Act and/or other laws. I know, I haven't done with that. It says video stream offline. I don't know if they can see me. Hold on. Let me refresh the page. Your sound is a little low. I haven't started talking yet. Okay. Do not mark as for children. Yeah, I know. I read about it. So, hey guys, welcome to the homestead. Thanks for tuning in. I just wanted to do a video tonight. It says my volume is low. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me okay? Everything okay? Let me know in the comments if you can hear me. And then we'll get started. Let me know if you can hear me. Coming through loud and clear. Audio is great, Zach. Good to see. Good deal. All right, so let me go back over to my OBS and we'll get started. Crystal good comms. Excellent. All right, so I'm back in OBS, and so tonight what I wanted to do is just come in and do a tribute. This is something I wanted to do early on, and I needed to get to a point where I could compose myself enough for at least an hour to be able to do that. And so I believe the time is right. Today is the 28th of December. It's been exactly 1 month since my wife has passed away, and it's a sad day. That date, 1 month ago, I mean, I was actually really happy. I was very joyous. I was relieved. I mean, the pain that had basically tormented her was gone, and she was free from that pain. And so she spent, the last month of her life very uncomfortable, and at least last month, and so of her life was very uncomfortable. And so when it was all over, I was very relieved. And when I got back home is when it, kind of hit me like a freight train. And so I'm just surrounded by triggers, and a lot of people really can't handle that, and they want to get away from all the things that trigger them. And really, I don't want to be that way. I really love the things that she loved, and I loved being in this house because she made it such a joyous place to live, and I couldn't imagine being anywhere else. So it's gonna be a little hard to get through this video, but I think we're gonna do okay. So today we're gonna do a tribute. We're gonna do a tribute to Jaimie, and it being the 1 month anniversary that she has been free from her pain. And so, um, uh, and we're gonna have lots of plans for other videos down the road, and we're gonna continue doing the homesteading thing. And I know lots of people are asking questions. What are you gonna do now? Are you gonna put your kids in public school? No. I have taken over that duty, and so they are still doing homeschooling here. And we're going to continue doing homesteading. We're not leaving the homestead. Absolutely not. We spent too much blood, sweat, and tears building what we have here to give it up. And this is Jaimie's legacy, and she's going to continue. We're going to continue that legacy that she started. So tonight, what we have is some of Jaimie's favorite things: wine and cheese. Wine and cheese. She loved wine and cheese, and so we have her favorite cheese. Havarti is her favorite cheese. So the next time you're in the store and you see Havarti cheese, you want to pick up some cheese. You just want to try Jaimie's favorite cheese. That's it, Havarti cheese. And it's a good cheese. I like it.
Yeah, I love
it. Yeah. And so her favorite wine was a Sauvignon Blanc, and so that's what we're having tonight. I'm having the wine. He's having the cheese. Oh, it's good. It's good wine. And so you got to drink this temperature at like 55, 60 degrees. got to be kind of cool, not chilled, but cool. So that was her favorite wine and cheese, Sauvignon Blanc and Havarti cheese. So we're gonna do that tonight. Plus, we're gonna look at some pictures. We're gonna kind of go through a number of pictures that I picked out about a month ago, after this just happened, and I wanted to share these pictures with you and share some video. I think the video that we're going to share with you tonight was a behind the scenes video kind of that we shared with the patrons about a year ago. And it's crazy to think, just a year ago, everything was fine. Nothing was out of the norm. And it was February 1st that we got the call after she had gone in to do a surgery biopsy. And February 1st, we got the call that it was cancer. And, it was um, just crazy after that, trying to figure this out. I do want to do, before we get started, I just want to go ahead and tell you that I am going to do probably one more video coming up on Jaimie and her cancer. And it's going to be the things we tried, because my big issue when we were trying to tackle this was to go out and do as much research on everyone who had the same kind of cancer that Jaimie had, and to figure out how they fought their battle. Did they win? Did they lose? What did they do? Was it traditional? Was it alternative? What were all the alternatives that they tried? There were a number of people who did alternatives that succeeded, and people who did alternatives that failed. People who did traditional that succeeded, and people who did traditional that failed. And so I tried to put together the best battle plan as possible by researching all of the other people who came before us, who had fought this battle for this particular type of cancer. And so I want to do a video and lay out bang, 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 bang on everything we did. What we thought worked, what we thought didn't work. Obviously, we know the result, but there were some things that we did that absolutely we saw benefits from, and I want to share those things so that someone who comes in later can find these things and then can formulate their own battle plan. Because I'm telling you right now, when you get those words that you have cancer, you get that phone call, your life's going to change. And I tell people now, it's, well, we'll get into that in the video. We'll get into that in the video. The people you love who are around you, make sure you tell them that you love them to the point where they get annoyed with you, because you just never know when that you may not have that opportunity again. So I'm telling that to everybody. So let's go ahead and get started. I want to just share with you some of these pictures. I'm going to go ahead and go into my screen share, and I'm going to love sharing some of these photos with you. So I think, let me just go ahead and make sure. Yeah, okay, cool. You guys can see. Excellent. So this is Jaimie in her favorite place in the whole wide world. This is her kitchen, and she loved being in the kitchen, and she loved cooking, and she loved baking. And her mom was more of the baker, but Jaimie loved to cook. And so this is some of the jam she made. This was a peach jam that she made a few years back, and I still have jars of this because we made so much. We had so many peaches that we harvested, and we just have lots and lots and lots of jam. So we even given a lot of it away as gifts. So, but she was really happy with all of the jam she made with those peaches. This is, let's focus here. Should focus. There we go. This is smoked trout in our smokehouse. Now, I actually, somewhere I had some pictures of her favorite meal, which is smoked salmon. Hold on, I'm gonna take a drink. And this is smoked trout. That was like her favorite thing in the whole world, was smoked salmon from our smokehouse. And the way we did it was, I would take the salmon fillet and I would put it in raw in the smokehouse for about 2 hours. Now, this is a cold smoker, so there's no heat or very little heat. And so it would just sit in here and sweat and take in that smoke flavor. And then after about 2 hours, I would take it out of the cold smoker and then put it in the oven for about 20 minutes inside the house in the kitchen. And the first time we did that, Jaimie said, "This is the best salmon I have ever had." And she had, that's been her favorite meal for a long time, is salmon. And so she's had a lot of salmon out at restaurants and whatever. That was the best salmon. So whenever we wanted to do a treat, that was the way we did it. And we put it in that cold smoker for about 2 hours and finished it off in the oven for 20 minutes. And these are large trout fillets that you're seeing here. She loved those just as much. They were just as good, delicious. We got those by going fishing over at Rockbridge. A friend of mine, Don, I want to take him over to Rockbridge. It's an amazing place. You can catch the fish right out of the stream. There's no limit on them. I took the boys over there about a year and a half ago. It was phenomenal. You have to pay for it, but it's about half price compared to buying trout in the store, and you get so much more. And they'll even debone and package them for you. It's an amazing place. And
But
so what?
yeah, but I mostly this I didn't pull out my fishing pole to catch them. I just took the baby trout and catch them.
The baby, yeah, when you were catching the baby trout, yeah. There's lots of baby trout,
The
but
minnows.
you had a fun time. You caught a lot
Yeah.
of fish. Yeah, he caught some lunkers, man. I'm telling you, they're crazy. But that's how Jaimie loved her fish. She loved them smoked, cold smoked, and then finished in the oven. It was just an amazing flavor. The best fish she'd ever had came out of that cold smoker. By her words, I mean she loved that stuff. So let this
That's
focus
fish
too.
related.
Yeah, no, it's not.
Yeah, no.
But this picture, every time we would go see some friends of ours down in Fort Smith, we would take Highway 23, what's called the Pig Trail, down to I think it's Highway 40, and then we'd cut over to Fort Smith that way. But we'd pass by this scenic lookout, and we'd stop, if there were people there, so we'd get our picture taken. We'd ask someone to hold the camera and take our picture. And so we had a number of them done every time we went down to that fellowship down there. And so this was probably our favorite one that we had done, and it just turned out really good. They all turned out great, but Josh was holding Kayla was pointing out that Josh was holding a walking stick. That's one of Gina Woodson's favorite animals in the whole animal kingdom.
It
So,
actually isn't.
but
Terrifying.
I just love this picture of us, and she had this is the point where she had worked so hard at doing the one meal a day, and she had lost, I think at this point, like 40 pounds, and she was really happy with her weight at this time, and this is obviously all pre-cancer and all that stuff, so it was just a really good photo. We did another one when after her main surgery, but this was my favorite. This is a photo of her and her mom. If you've had gotten to know us at all, you know that she grew up in Papua New Guinea. Her parents were missionaries for Wycliffe Bible translators, and her mom and dad took them, and they lived for a good 10 years or so in Papua New Guinea. And there they are. And when they first get there, they take them into like outback training or some kind of jungle training camp, and they're instructed to make an adobe cook stove, and so this is their Adobe cook stove that they made in the jungle at jungle camp in Papua New Guinea. And there's Jaimie helping her mom as her mom is cooking over the Adobe wood stove. So yeah, it was in her bones to live off grid. So okay, so next picture. All right, so this one, she is at still in Papua New Guinea, but this is her school's library. And I've told you guys before, she always loved books. She loved books. That was like her favorite thing in the world: books, books, books. And so this is just a young photo of her in the library. She would go there, and while other kids would go to recess, she would go to the library and she would assist the librarian, and she would help the librarian put books back, that had been in the cart and needed to be put back into into the bookshelves. And so she would, while all the other kids were out playing, she would be in the library putting books away because that's where she loved to be. Um, so the night before her major surgery, we went to a bookstore. No, this is the bookstore in downtown Fayetteville. And she had found this months before, and she really wanted to visit it, but she hadn't had a chance to yet. There were a couple times where she wanted to go, but something came up and she couldn't. And so the night before her major surgery, where they were going to replace her chin with a fibula, we knew life would never be the same after that point. And so we tried to make a really nice evening of it. Went out to somewhere to dinner, got a nice hotel, and we went to this bookstore. And she just had a blast. She spent, I mean, at least 2 or 3 hours in this place, just roaming around and soaking it all in, and just looking at all of the different. She got a number of books for homeschool that night. She got a number of books just for her personal enjoyment. So this was something that she really, really loved. She loved books, and I mean, she's just in her element. I mean, she's looking up books on her phone, trying to see if she can get them at a cheaper price. Maybe I'm not sure what she was doing there, or if she was trying to find exact ones by the author. I'm not sure, but she was not to be disturbed because she was so into what she was doing here. Right now, I think she's looking at interior decorating books. A lot of people didn't know she had a degree in music from a college in California, but where I met her was in Orlando, and she was taking night classes to be an interior designer. And she had gotten a good amount through that program, I think, before she decided to stop doing it. And we got married. And I kind of wish she would have kept doing it because I think she would have been just an amazing interior designer. But really, where her heart wanted to be was to be a mother and to be a wife. And she was just doing the interior design classes until that happened. And so when we happened, us, all of that went by the wayside, and she more than anything wanted to be a wife and a mother. So okay, there you go. There's some of her. That's her favorite. That's her happy spot right there in the books. This is another one of her happy spots. She loved, cooking, and she was doing a bunch of canning of peaches. This is clingstone and freestone peaches that we're doing dozens and dozens of jars of, and we did them all over the evaporator, the maple syrup evaporator, and the outdoor kitchen. If you notice, the outdoor kitchen isn't done yet. Tim was still building it when we decided to go ahead and just do this because we wanted to get as many of these peaches as possible harvested that were at a place called Peach Pickin' Paradise. And so we've done videos of being out there a couple times, I think. So we harvested tons of peaches and we put together jam, peaches. I even made peach wine, I think, with that batch. That turned out excellent. So yeah, we did a lot that day. We were really busy. But yeah, she loved that evaporator and she did a lot of salsa and other things in there as well. This is a year ago. This was a year ago at our Sakote. And I'm gonna take a drink here. There's some of the ladies, um, the Legers, the Haasas, and the Almas wives right there with Jaimie, and she's making mozzarella cheese. And you can make mozzarella cheese in about 30 minutes or less. That was one of her favorite
So
things to do. And
isn't this mozzarella
no,
cheese?
that's Havarti cheese, a little bit different.
Oh, yeah.
And so she, in fact, that video is actually getting a lot of hits right now. It seems like over the last week or so. Anyway, so she was doing a class on how to make mozzarella cheese, and she's basically at this point pouring off the cream first, and then you can separate the rest of the milk and then use that for your cheese. So that's what she's doing right there, making mozzarella. This is one of our favorite places in the world when it gets hot. Oh, we had so many good memories, and so this is the creek where we go and we swim at down. It's called the what do they call it? I forgot what the mill hole. It's called the mill hole because in the 1800s there used to be an old grain mill, I believe, at this location, and so it's called the mill hole. All the locals, the old timers, call it the mill hole. And it's a great place to swim. We go down. Sometimes we'll go down there every day in the summer when it gets so hot, and she would love to go down there and just cool off. And we bring the kids. The kids obviously love it, and just we've had so many great moments there, and uh, we decided to bury her at a graveyard that kind of overlooks the spot. So just near the spot is where she's laid to rest. And so it was just a meaningful place for us because we spent so much time there. So the mill hole. This is not the mill hole. This is a place that's down the road a little ways, but another favorite spot of the locals. There's lots of places to go swim in our area. The locals know where all of these places are. And this was I forget what they call this hole. It's I don't remember. There's a name for they all have names by the locals. There's no signs or anything. They all have their own names. The locals call them. Yeah, I remember. You don't remember? Well, we've been there. I think we've only been there like once or twice. So we didn't swim here very often because upstream from this area there is a large cattle farm, and some of the wastewater gets washed into this area here, and so people have come away from this swim spot before with like earaches and things like that, and people suspect it's because of the wastewater that runs into the creeks from the cattle. Because the cattle are out there on these acres and acres. It's not like they're all caged up or anything. But rain is rain, and rain washes away, and it comes down to the creeks. And so, I mean, if there's germs or whatever, so we don't swim here. People, it's really an amazing spot. And so there's cliff jumping behind there. You can see the cliffs, and so kids will jump off the cliffs, and it's always fun for kids to do. And so that's why it remains popular. But we
Oh, yeah, I remember.
we preferred this place here. It's called the Mill Hole.
Yeah, I think.
I don't think you jumped off there.
Yeah, not the big. I
Yeah,
go for
yeah. This was a spot, or this was the birth of Joshua. So she had cesarean section, and this was Joshua after he was born, our firstborn, and they snapped a photo of us for us. I love this picture because this is when she still did makeup. Not that I really love her makeup, but at this time she still wore makeup and she still dyed her hair. And I preferred her without the makeup and without. I preferred her gray hair, no doubt about it. But I think she still looks beautiful in this photo. So I just, um,
makeup.
yeah, she used to wear makeup long before you were around. So we're visiting some botanical gardens, I think in St. Louis, and I just like this photo. This is the first year on the homestead, and it's snowing. This is our first winter, and she is pumping water. And if you ever want to ask someone the true value of water, ask someone who has pumped it or carried it, because they will tell you the true value of water. Water is life, and it's so amazing. You read, in your Bible just how important water was during the Exodus. It's something they ranted and raved about all the time. What?
How much water is?
That's a lot of water, but that's how we used to pump all of our water. And then we take it inside. But now we have indoor plumbing, and it's all gravity fed water from rain catchment. So it's we've come a long way. But those were our early days, and she's got that Jaimie smile on her face that she always had. So I love that photo too. She made fried chicken. She's made fried chicken a number of times, but of course, but this was the one we got a picture of, and it just looks so good. And so I like that photo. It was really good chicken. All of her chicken was really good chicken. But yeah. This is a couple of her close friends, Gina and Cassie, and they were going out to dinner with a number of her other girlfriends, and they had some good photos. I think I've shared some of those before that dinner. But she didn't get to go out much, and it's not because she didn't want to or I wouldn't let her. I always encouraged her to go out. I wanted her to go out, and so when an invite would come in and I heard about it, I would urge her to go. And I really wanted her to go to that conference that they just had recently. I really wanted her to go, and she wasn't able to, but whenever she could go out, she was a homebody, guys. She was an introvert at heart. She loved being at home, and she loved just, sitting next to a fire with a good book or her journal and writing in it. That was where she wanted to be. And it's not like she didn't like people. I mean, she did like, well, I guess she loved her friends, but I mean, she really was an introvert at heart. And so, but I always encouraged her, go out, go out. But I just love this photo of her. I think she looks so good with her sunglasses on, driving in that picture. So Gina's not wearing her seatbelt. Okay, so uh, there's her favorite thing in the kitchen was one of her favorite herbs was garlic. She had, I mean, her garlic, onion. Those were her two go-to things. And so if you watched her videos, garlic and onion was her two things that she loved to cook with the most. Also, basil and cilantro or popolo. Popolo and cilantro very similar. And so she would love those things, those herbs, the cilantro and the basil. But garlic, I would braid those things. She didn't like braiding them so much. She would kind of get frustrated. She would do it sometimes, but she would get frustrated with trying to braid them. And so I would braid them for her so she could do other things she wanted to do. And then we'd hang them up in the kitchen, and she'd pick them off as she needed them. And before long, within 5 or 6 months, most of all those were gone. She used them quite a bit.
Big pile of garlic.
Big pile of garlic. That was her favorite thing to see in the kitchen. Big pile of garlic.
Right now we have a little bit of onion.
We got some onions and we got some spices hanging up over there. Okay, so this is her working on the outdoor laundry. So we wanted to build an outdoor laundry, and we have since, and I'm going to show this on video, put in a solar-powered laundry machine. And it was after her surgery. I came home and I told Tim, I said, we really need to get a solar-powered laundry machine because she's not going to be able to do laundry for a while. And I don't want Joanne doing the laundry by hand, for Jaimie and me, and like she was doing. And so we decided to go ahead and put a solar-powered laundry machine. But before that, It was all Ringer and Washer and the Laverio. That was like her huge. She loved that washer, and it was an amazing washer for her. She loved it. I think I have a picture of that coming up somewhere in the sequence. But she got out there and she got dirty just like everyone else did at times. And this was her project, and she helped her dad build this. So it was something they got to do together. This is a photo. So let me just give you a bit of a background. So when we first got the diagnosis for cancer, we were uh, obviously shocked. But we went in to see the dentist who made the diagnosis, and he recommended a couple of doctors that we could go see and go ahead and begin that process. And they told us what all of that was going to entail, and the details were just absolutely horrific. And so we were not at all you know, excited about getting started with this process. And both the doctors who saw Jaimie told us that, listen, we caught this early. Your prognosis is going to be excellent. In fact, if you want to take a couple months, 30 days, 60 days, and go find second opinions and see what other options you have, go ahead and do that. Well, what you're seeing here is the end of about 60 days, about 50 some days. And we had visited a number of doctors in Little Rock. We talked to doctors on the phone. This is a doctor in Nashville. We saw two doctors in Nashville, and both those doctors took a look at her and took a look at the X-rays that they had on file, the updated X-rays, and they told us, "Hey, listen, guys, this is not your normal squamous cell carcinoma. Only about 5 or 10% of squamous cell carcinomas are aggressive. Hers was very, very aggressive. And by the end of 2 months, they were like, alarm bells, you must do something, and you must do something now." So that was basically after they had told us this. And I wanted to snap a photo of her. I don't know why I did, but, she's deep in thought, and we're just trying to figure out what we're going to do next. And, um, the conclusion was when we left this office, we got back in the car and we said, okay, we're going to go back home and we're going to schedule the surgery because all the other doctors basically came to the same conclusion of what the first two doctors recommended. And so that's what we did. But at this point, they were all saying, hey, listen, this is very serious. This is it's a very fast growing cancer. While we were in Nashville, of course, we're out there looking for different places where she can eat. And about this time, she's starting to have trouble eating certain foods. It's becoming very hard for her. And so it's mostly soups. And so we found an amazing place called the Urban Market, Herban Market, in south of Nashville. And I forgot the name of the town. But anyway, she loved this place. So we saw a couple of doctors. We spent a day or two here, and then we kept coming back to this eatery because they made all of their ingredients fresh. She loved it. I believe the soup she's eating there is a shiitake coconut cream soup, something or other. I forgot all that was in it, but she absolutely loved that soup, and it was all fresh, made right there in front of you ingredients. She loved it, and so I love that photo of her. I think she looks so good. Okay, and so soon after we got back, we went to because she was always in a cross stitch. She has probably dozens and dozens of cross stitch projects hanging all over the house that she has made over the years. And so she bought another cross stitch project, and so it was a bouquet of roses. And I gave that project that she started. She started it, and she got maybe about 25% of it done. And she has a really good friend of hers. I'll show her in another picture, Jessica from St. Louis, who she was really good friends with. And I mean, they were kind of like besties, And so when one of Jessica's daughter was born, I believe her first daughter was born. She made her a cross stitch to commemorate that and gifted it to Jessica. And her name's Anna. Anna has always been a girly girl like Jaimie, and she liked a lot of the things Jaimie did. And so I asked Jessica, would she like this project because Jaimie never finished it. She only got about 25% of the way through. And Jessica said, absolutely, absolutely. And so they got her a starter kit to get her going on it. And so it's a bouquet of roses. Jaimie got about 25% of the way in, I think. and I gave it to her at the memorial, and she's going to take it back home. And at some point, Anna will be able to complete that, and I think it'll be special. I would love to see it again when it's all complete. I don't. That'll be a tough day because I think she bought this project because she thought to herself, as long as I'm working on something, nothing's going to happen because I have unfinished things to do, and so I mean, she wanted to start a new project, and she was always starting these projects, and she loved them. That's what she loved. It's one of the things she loved was cross stitch. So I have lots of these projects all over the house. Another thing she loved was working on things herself. She loved restoring furniture or making furniture, and so her dad made these cabinets. And here she is painting them, getting them ready to be put where she wants them to be. She would buy old furniture sometimes at places and bring them home and then completely redo them. She did that throughout our marriage, and she did that even before we were married. And so she had some amazing remarks. We have a dresser in our bedroom that she brought home, and she just did a fantastic job restoring that. It's amazing, a work of art. And so she loved doing that kind of thing. Turkey is one of the turkeys we raised here on the homestead. Tim didn't want to do turkeys anymore, but I loved it when he did the turkeys, and I thought these turkeys were so delicious. And this is one of the ones she prepared. Her favorite broth. She made chicken broth. She made lamb broth. She made beef broth, deer broth. I mean, she made all kinds of broths, but her favorite was turkey by far of all the broths she made, and she made all of them. Her favorite was turkey, and so whenever a turkey was to be made, bone broth was going to be coming soon after. This was actually the day of our wedding. We had gotten married in her backyard in Florida. They had a very nice backyard in Florida, and there was a hurricane coming. It was Hurricane Francis, and we were supposed to get married on September 4th, but we ended up having to move it forward to September 3rd. They closed all the airports down, so none of my most of the wedding party didn't make it in town. The pastor made it in town, but uh, he he left quickly after because everyone was worried about getting out of town and doing so safely, not being stranded. So we moved the wedding up a day, and then we got dressed, and we were going to go to the hotel, but because we had to move everything up a day, we couldn't go to the hotel. So we spent our wedding night, our first night of marital bliss, at Wycliffe Bible Translators headquarters. They have a number of apartments that missionaries can use when they come into town to stay at the headquarters, when they visit headquarters. So it's for families who come in, they have a place to stay at Wycliffe. And so we quickly arranged, excuse me, um, a room for us at Wycliffe Bible Translators headquarters. And that's where we spent our first wedding night because there was nowhere else to go because of the hurricane. And so the next day we got to go to the hotel. And then after that, we went to Mexico for our honeymoon. But yeah, that was after the wedding. We had gotten dressed and we were getting ready to go to Wycliffe. It's just a crazy story, in my opinion. But yeah. Oh, this is Jessica. So Jaimie is in the kitchen and they're making, of course, salsa. One of the favorite things we make here on the homestead, and they're doing a great job. And so this was a number of years ago. You can tell the kitchen has totally changed compared to where it's been before. So
this is our kitchen?
yeah, that's our kitchen. You see that door behind there? That door's not there anymore.
Where does the door lead?
That used to lead into the storage area that we have now. So the kitchen has completely been redone, and so this was a number of years ago. But you can tell the lantern is still where it is today. Yep. Okay, so this is the Laverio washer. So Jaimie would all the time get these emails, and I would get these emails all the time from different products selling their wares, people selling their washers, their hand washers. You've seen some of them out there, and Jaimie just thought most of them, if not all of them, were garbage. She did not like them. She tested them. She thought the loads were too small. They thought they leaked, or they just weren't. She had something that she was like, I do not like these. I would never use these. And so people would always try to recommend things. Well, someone recommended this. The company contacted us for washing clothes, and she looked at it, and it didn't look like anything that people had asked her to use before. And so she's like, huh, okay, I'll try it. And I didn't think she would. Normally, I thought she would just be like, "Pff," and not want to do it at all. But she was interested because it was a design she had not seen before. And so she agreed. They sent us one for free. We tried it out and she pretty much loved it. I mean, there was a couple things she would change about it, but they were very minimal. And she basically loved it. And I know a lot of you guys, based on this recommendation, have gotten those. It purely for just a backup. I mean, let's just say, for instance, the electricity goes out and you have no way to do laundry. This is a really handy way to do laundry. It doesn't take a lot of effort, not near like some of those other ones do, and it can do pretty large loads, unlike some of those other washers that they have out there that you basically wash a pair of jeans, one pair of jeans at a time, and then you're done. They don't fit any laundry. They're just horrible. So, um, yeah, she liked it. That was a Laveria washer, but I was surprised she decided to agree to wash to try it out, but she did, and she liked it. So this is us early in our marriage. I can't. I think we had. I wasn't sure if we had Joshua yet or not, or we were working on number one. And can you go close the door? The rain's coming. It's probably gonna make it hard for you guys to hear me. Okay, great. So some of you guys know that I was involved in Second Amendment organizations. Early on, I was in the board of directors for three different Second Amendment organizations that basically lobbied out of Jefferson City, and so I got to meet a lot of general assemblymen, state senators, things like that. And so we did a lot of work there. Well, one of the ways we raised money, one of the ways we raised money was because of these picnics we would have. We have it's called Missouri Carry Picnics. MissouriCarry.com was a website we started, and Jaimie was like instrumental in helping me with all that. So this was the first ever Missouri Carry picnic we did. It was done at an outdoor lodge, and it turned out fantastic. It was great, and it was the first of five or six different Missouri Carry picnics that I arranged and not only participated in, but also helped coordinate and pull off. And so there she is right next to me after it was all said and done. And this was at the end of the picnic, and I just think she looks beautiful in this photo. But yeah, but it was a great time. We had good times at these events.
That door looks like.
Yeah, it kind of does look like her back door, doesn't it? Okay, so very special photo. This is one of the photos she loved. If you go to her Facebook profile, this is the background photo of her profile. This is her picking daisies with Caleb, and her favorite flower in the world was daisies. And lo and behold, we have daisies that grow up all over the homestead every single year. Um, Nowadays, the sheep eat quite a few of them because the sheep love daisies too. And so they eat a lot of them, but you can still go out and find lots of daisies around the homestead. And so she's out here with Caleb. This is our second born. He's sitting here with me now. And Caleb, ever since this time, would always bring mommy flowers because, daisies, well, just flowers in general. You'd bring her flowers whenever. So this is like the thing, he learned mom loved flowers. And so whenever he saw cool flowers, he would pick them and bring them to her. And but this is, I think that was that experience that allowed him to know that. So she loves daisies. That was her favorite. Her
And
favorite
I'm
flower.
holding a giant one.
Yeah, you're holding a flower there too. Big old daisy. Yep. So every year it's daisies. We love the daisies. Um, we love spice, and so she one year, this was like 2 years ago, I think, and she made like tons and tons of jars of jalapenos, and so uh, we still have just tons of these things, and we eat them on a pretty regular basis. I love them. They're really spicy. They're really good, and yeah, I love her batch. She just made so many canned goods, so many canned goods. It was, and of course, there's the garlic in the background that she loves so much. But yeah. We love the jalapenos. Here she is canning some potatoes. We did canned potatoes one year that turned out pretty good, and I think she thought they were a lot of work to can the potatoes, but once you take them out of the jar, they're really easy to mash to make mashed potatoes. Very simple, and so there was a benefit to that. But yeah, just another thing she canned was canned potatoes. I love this photo because hold on a second. Okay, I love this photo. This was after our honeymoon. We had just gotten back to from our honeymoon, and at South County Baptist Church, they had put on a reception for us, a wedding reception, because we got married in Orlando, and so a lot of our family, my side of the family and friends in St. Louis, wanted to do something, for our wedding too, and so they couldn't come for the wedding in Orlando, so they had a reception. So we went to Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. We spent a week there or whatever for our honeymoon and then came back. Well, like a day or two before we left Puerto Vallarta, we went not scuba diving, snorkeling, and we got just gigantic sunburns on our backs from snorkeling. And so you can't tell in this photo because she has just such a pretty smile. And, again, she's wearing her makeup and everything. And um, but she has this horrible, horrible sunburn on the back of her back, and she had to tell every person who came up to her not to hug her because everyone wanted to give her a hug, and because her back was so sore. So she has a really pretty smile on her face right now, but she was absolutely miserable that day. But I just think she looks so good in that photo, and you can just tell the way I'm looking at her that I love my bride. So, but yeah. So I won't go into all this here, but this was our wedding rings. I put a story about our wedding rings. Each one of our wedding rings has a story behind it, and if you want to read about that, you can go over to her profile. I believe it's on her profile, where I posted either in her timeline or tributes on her profile at Facebook, where I posted about our wedding rings. If you want to read about that, you can do that there. But uh, the diamond studs that you see there on the left, those were replaced last year for her birthday. Or was it her anniversary? Maybe it was her anniversary.
Yeah, that was her anniversary.
Okay, that was her anniversary. Well, she used to have two diamond studs that she wore all the time that I had bought her early in our marriage, and she lost one when we moved off grid, and it just really upset her. And I was at a point about a year ago, a little over a year ago, year and a half ago, when our anniversary was coming up, that I said, I really want to replace those studs because she lost one and she really hasn't worn it since, and she loves them. So I went out and I bought replacement studs for her. And then the pearls that you see on the right, I bought those early in our marriage too, along with a set of and a pearl necklace and a pearl bracelet. I bought those at the Shane Company. If you're from St. Louis, you know where that is. So they had a special one week, on pearls, and so I bought the pearl set and gave it to her. I think it was for our anniversary as well. Oh yeah, it was first anniversary because first anniversary is pearls, so that's what I did. I think, right? I think that's right. Anyway, so in any of our photos, if you see our photos and you see her dressed up or she's out with her friends or whatever, she's always wearing her diamond stud and a pearl in each ear. And that was just like her thing. And usually a pearl necklace. If she was out, she would wear a pearl necklace too. That same pearl necklace that I bought her. But yep,
And
that's her watch. Yeah, and her Z seat. So that just sits there. We're on my dresser. But if you were interested about the wedding ring story, you can look that up on Facebook at her profile. Okay, so this is the photo I wanted to show you. The video, let's go ahead and play this. I think, wait, let me see. This is gonna. So we're also gonna go check out a place called Deerberg's. I've lived all over. Okay, so we are in St. Louis. We're visiting. I don't know what we're visiting for, but we're in St. Louis. This was about a year and a half ago, and we did a video when we went to Deerberg's, and we talk about our experience going into Deerberg's and grocery shopping. Because you okay? He's got a cold today, folks. That's why everyone else is gone but me and him. So everyone went to some friend's house tonight, and Caleb stayed with me because he's got a cold. So I thought this would be a cool video just to kind of share some behind the scenes footage we shared with our patrons. And we are foodies. We love food. We love cooking at home. We love our date nights. And we love grocery shopping. That was like our thing. And grocery shopping for ingredients that we could make something special for us for our date nights. And so that's where that's what we love to do. So here is us getting ready to go to Deerberg and talking about that experience. So we're also going to go check out a place called Deerberg's. I've lived all over, and so has she. And we have visited a lot of different places that have a lot of different types of grocery stores. You know, Kroger, Albertsons, Publix, Harps, and nobody.
Vaughn's in California. I remember Vaughn's.
I've never been to that one. But nobody holds a candle to Schnucks and Deerberg's when it comes to grocery stores. You know, and they're located in St. Louis. It's just, when I first brought her to St. Louis and I showed her a Deerberg's, she was like,
I mean, to me, like, I'm not a big shopper. Like, I've never been really into clothes shopping and, you know, like makeup and all that kind of stuff. I've never really enjoyed shopping for those kind of things. But I really love grocery shopping, especially by myself. If I can go grocery shopping by myself, you guys know what I'm talking about. You don't want to take your kids grocery shopping if you can't really help it. But anyway, when he first took me into Deerberg's, I was just stunned. And this was,
I don't know,
at least 12 years ago. He brought me to St. Louis before we had kids.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I just was taking it all in. I could spend hours in that store just looking at all their stuff. To me, it's like eye candy.
Yeah. They have the biggest selection I've ever seen in a grocery store ever. And when I grew up here, I just thought all stores were like that. And then, you know, I went to Florida, you know, for college. Even in Europe had nothing like that. And then I went to Orlando and saw the grocery stores there. I'm like, is this it? You know, they have Publix, I think, and Albertsons. It's not like, this is horrible for a grocery store. And then I moved to other places, and every place I moved to, I was like, this is not a grocery store. But so we do make a few stops. You know, obviously Trader Joe's is one, and Deerberg's is another. Okay, so I hope you guys can. Let me go ahead and go over to. Could you guys hear that? I'm looking at the chat. Let me know if you guys can hear that okay and everything came through on the audio. BJ Smith says I'm in quarantine also. He must be sick too. Yeah, let me know if you guys can hear okay. Could you hear that audio okay from the video? Yes, I hear Tim. Tim says yes. Tim Spalding says yes. Yeah, it sounded fine, Zach. Okay. Yeah, William Villar says, I remember that video. It should have been on for the patrons, I believe. Okay, great. So that was the first video. Let me go ahead and go back to the second one and put this back. So this is the second video. I'll play it for you now. So we're standing in front of the produce, which is our favorite section because we get so many great ingredients in this section. So here we go.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. So we're in St. Louis, and we're in the biggest grocery store that we would shop in sometimes when we lived here, but not regularly because it's like a higher end, more expensive grocery store. But we just wanted to come in here and look around and let the boys in and see what it looks like. And we're in the produce section, and honestly, like, to me, I look at this produce and I think it's like perfect. It's so perfect. Like, look at this. I mean, isn't that beautiful? It's so beautiful. I mean, it comes out of the garden looking like that, you know?
So yeah, it comes out of the garden looking like that, and she would get so she would just laugh when she would go and see these displays, and you know, it's the same way for meat. Everyone thinks meat comes in styrofoam, well packaged containers, and you okay? It doesn't, but I mean that's just how people think because that's all they've seen, and they've never actually harvested stuff themselves. But we really did love going to uh, this place and just looking at all the options for produce that they had because it just other stores pale and that's just a small section you're seeing there. I mean, there's just tons and tons of stuff there. And so it's just all the other grocery stores that we see on a regular basis just kind of pale in comparison. I did see a Harps actually in Springdale not too long ago that had a produce section that was pretty good. I was surprised. It's probably one of the biggest produce sections I've seen outside of Deerberg's, and that was not normal for a Harps. Um, other than Walmart, but I don't count Walmart. So anyway, all right, next video. So this was one of our favorite things that we did, on especially during times of our marriage when money was tight. We would come and get cheese and olives, and because it was something that you could afford, it was a snack, it was a date night thing. We could eat this while watching a movie. We loved goat cheese. We loved olives, all kinds of olives, and she loved some of the different peppers and things that they had at the antipasta bars. And so this was one of our favorite places to go when we had our date nights. And so we'd get what we wanted to get, and then we'd go home and we'd watch whatever we were going to watch while we ate some of these amazing delicacies. These olives, they're just so good. Oh, wait a minute. Okay, here we go.
We talk about how we like our olives.
Well, Zach and I got started. We've always done a date night most of our marriage, at least after the kids came along. And we used to try to do something special that we could afford. And it would vary at different times in our marriage what we could afford. But whatever it was, we tried to make it special. And one of the things we like to do is go to an olive bar. And this is a selection of different kinds of olives that we would do just we would have with cheese or bread or whatever we would do on that night. We would have different olives.
Hold on, let me get a picture. Look at that one. We haven't seen that one before.
Those are peppers.
Oh, peppers. I think I want to try these. They look huge. Try some of those. You want to get some of those that you like?
Get some of those.
Okay, we'll put a thing together. So give me a get a shot of me putting it together.
Well, those are sweet, I think. You probably don't want to put them in the same container.
Oh, different containers? That good? With more?
A couple more. I think you've got 2 containers there.
Oh yeah, okay. There we go.
Okay.
Anyway, so yeah, that's our one of our favorite things we had on date nights was olives, maybe some cheese, and maybe a bottle of wine. That was just something we loved to get. But yeah, that was always a special time. Again, turkey broth. That was her favorite thing. We had a video. She did turkey broth. She'll tell you in the video that was it's always been her favorite broth that she liked to make. And even like if she didn't have broth, which is rare, if she didn't have broth in the pantry, she would always buy the turkey broth at the store, the organic brand and whatever organic brand she could find, and buy turkey broth because she'd rather cook soups with turkey broth than anything else. Also, we get this question so often. Everyone wants to know what we use for homeschool. There is a 2-part series on our homeschool curriculum. You can look that up. If you just Google our homeschool curriculum on an American homestead, you'll be able to find it. And she goes through every single portion of our homeschool curriculum in detail. And so she left me just amazing notes with our homeschool plans and what we wanted to do, what she wanted, what her strategy was. I know her strategy. I know it really good, and she just did so much research, uh, hours upon hours of research into our homeschool and what she wanted our kids to learn and what curriculum she wanted to use. So we don't use a cut and dry curriculum. She made her own curriculum, and she basically piecemealed lots of different curriculums that excelled in certain areas and then took those areas and combined them into her own. So I hope that makes sense. But the video kind of breaks it down. And if you want more information, you can do that. A lot of people will not go through that kind of trouble. A lot of people will just buy a curriculum, and that's fine. You can do that. It makes it really simple and easy. But she had very uh, particular goals in mind for her kids and things she wanted them to learn and be exposed to for school. And so that's why she wanted to basically do it the way she did it. So I can't believe you ate almost that whole thing of cheese. Here, go blow your nose. Did I mention he has a cold? Okay, that is it for that. Let me go ahead and go back to the main cam. So um because things happened the way they did, we were able to strategize and plan ahead for where we are now. And a lot of people, I understand, do not get that blessing. A lot of people, there's a car accident or there's some sort of accident, and the person is gone tomorrow, and that is horrific. And I almost feel, I feel very blessed that it didn't work out that way for us, and we were able to have a good 10 months, almost 10 months of strategizing and planning. And she wrote me a lot of notes. Um, I'm gonna do this will be the last video I do, like tribute wise for her. I mean, she'll obviously come up in other videos that we do. I'm sorry if people can't hear me. Um, she'll obviously come up in other videos that we do, throughout, an American Homestead. But um, I want to just kind of continue putting out good content, and that's obviously sometimes not always going to involve her, but I feel blessed that we were able to strategize the way we did. Were we able to talk about everything? No. There's always going to be things that you look back and you regret not having talked about or planned about, and that's just the way it's going to be. And right now, I just more than anything in the world, I want to talk to her. I want to ask her about the last 2 weeks of her life, and just I mean I won't get into all that, but I just know that it was it was uh it was both special and horrible at the same time. Um, anyway, I want to do a video. Not a video, but I want to do a post. I'll probably do a post on her profile page of her journals, because she was amazing at her journals. She was into journaling. She was into her creative planner. She had a planner, and it was all just amazing works of art. How she put all this together, and she wrote a letter to each of our boys before she passed, and I have them framed. And it was basically telling them, listen, this is what's going to happen, and this is what I want for you in the future, and I can't wait to see the godly men that you grow into. And so I was disappointed that I didn't get a letter like that, but I did. I did, because throughout our marriage, she journaled, um, sometimes more on a regular basis than other days, than other times, but she journaled. And I was under strict orders during our marriage. I am not to read her journals. I'm not to read her journals. But now I'm reading her journals. And, it's not, she didn't want me to read them because she was bad mouthing me or being critical of her husband. She was praising me. And every time I open those journals, it's almost like a love letter. And so I feel very blessed to have all that. I have so much from my wife who's no longer here. I have videos, I have pictures, I have journals, I have her creative planner. I have all these things that so many other people don't get. And so I feel very blessed. And um, I mean, it is what it is, but I feel very blessed in all this. And I want to thank everyone for all the cards you have sent me, all of the encouragement you have given our family, the prayers. It's been unbelievable. And you got a cold. He's like, I'm fine, I can go. No, you're sick. Um, I wanted to point out a couple of these cards. This one was made. We have so many cards, and there's this phenomenon. Well, I'm gonna get ready to end the video here pretty soon because we've gone an hour now, and I don't want to go too much longer. But um, there's this phenomenon. I joined a widows group on Facebook, and there's thousands of people in there. And what I'm experiencing is a thing called widower's fog, and or widowed fog, and it's a brain fog. And I just forget simple things like, you guys who've been in the military, you know that you never forget your social security number, or at least the last four, right? So I'm on the phone the other day with the insurance trying to do paperwork and get everything in order because of her passing. And they asked me my last four of my social. And I seriously, it took me like over a minute to remember it. I could not remember my last four. So there's just so many things. Like I got so many cards. I have stacks and stacks of cards. And so I came home from the hospital and I was going through the cards and I took those cards and I put them in a big bag and I put them somewhere and I still haven't been able to find them anywhere. I don't know where they're at. And I mean, I look and I look. I know I put them somewhere. I remember putting them in a drawer or something. I've looked in every drawer in the house. I can't find them. And so I have more and more cards that have come in since then, and I'm trying to put them all with those cards, and I can't find the original stack. It's just things like that, brain fog. And I just, they say it's common with people who've experienced a traumatic loss. And I mean, I wear tassels. I was walking around the house the other day with eight tassels on because I kept putting tassel and tassel on. And I looked down like an hour later, and I'm like, why do I have all these tassels on my I mean, it's so crazy, but it happens every day. So anyway, just before the video was starting, I was looking around for a couple cards that I had saved because I wanted to find them for this video because they're very special, and all the cards you have been sent are special. But um, I just wanted to point out a couple, and I couldn't find them. I couldn't remember where they were. Where were they? Where did we find them at?
They're in the living room.
Oh, they were in the utility room. That's right. I have no idea why they'd be in there, but I put them in the utility room. Anyway, this one is from Ellen. And Ellen, I don't know if you're watching or not, but this is a homemade card, handcrafted card. So many of you guys have sent in cards like this. Yeah, this is homemade. It's handcrafted. You open it up, and it's got a note inside here. It's got a letter here in this pouch. It's got a homemade pouch. A letter for you. It's got a moringa tea for Jaimie. Now, I got this the other day, but she had sent this. She had held off on sending it, and she didn't realize that Jaimie had passed. And so she sent me a note letting me know that, hey, I know this is going to be late, because she didn't realize Jaimie had passed. And so this thing up here is like a little card in itself that opens up. I mean, it's like she loved this stuff. She loved cards like this. And when cards would come in like this, it was absolutely special. And some of you guys, I know, I mean, it's fine. It's all special too that you buy a card at the store and you send it. I mean, that's amazing. Thank you. And just reading those cards, I have to do them in portions because I can't take them in too much. It's too emotional for me because you say so many of the things that are on my heart. But another one, Carolissa, you have sent in a number of these cards, and they're so good. They're homemade cards. She would have loved these cards, and so thank you. There's another one that you sent in too. This one here, just a homemade card. I don't know if you guys can see that or not. I can't see that. It's got a little flower that's made with like fabric on here with a little button for the bud of the flower. But those are just so special, and so many of you guys did that. Thank you. Thank you for those. The cards were amazing. And I'm keeping them all for the boys to go through, that they have that opportunity one day so that they can see, how people felt about their mama. So I appreciate all that. Doing good? Yeah. Okay. The boys are doing great, guys. The boys are doing fantastic. They're just doing excellent. Everyone's worried about the boys. They're fine. I'm the one who's a mess. So I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I think that's it. Um Again, thanks everybody. I appreciate it. It's been amazing, and we've really felt your encouragement and your prayers. So her favorite cheese is Havarti. Her favorite wine is Sauvignon Blanc. Sauvignon Blanc.
How do you even say that?
Yeah, you gotta learn French.
Sauvignon Blanc.
Sauvignon Blanc means Sauvignon grapes, white. Cheers. All right, guys. Thank you. We'll see you next time on the homestead. I love you. Talk to you later. Bye.